Hello, hello. Welcome to Black Talk Show. Today guest is Dr. Jacqueline Kabab Harrison. Is that right? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So I want to start off by giving a brief of your bio. Is Jacqueline provides a virtual platform for entrepreneurs to receive personal, professional, and leadership development. She is the executive producer of a Queen's Roundtable channel on the Women's Win TV network, the host of a Queen's Roundtable Leadership Symposium, TV show, and podcast. She is a 3 times bestseller and 2 times international bestseller. Now, now, Jacqueline, tell us a little bit more about yourself, Dr. Jacqueline.
Okay. So let's see, what do I start? So, like you already mentioned, my passion is helping women in business. It's helping women in business, helping them with personal, professional, and leadership development to ultimately help them scale, to help them, take their business wherever in whatever direction to whatever length they want to take it, right? And it all starts with that individual and what they believe they can do and what they feel worthy of. So that's my passion. So it's I've actually kind of, when I initially started, I started out as a confidence and success coach, and I still do that. But it's interesting how things kind of changed a little bit for me. So I started out with the coaching, and now I guess it's moving more towards like a media company, if you will, because I'm focusing primarily on giving women visibility, giving them opportunities to network and to be able to, like I said, receive personal, professional leadership development, all of that for them to be able to actually achieve whatever goals that they have for themselves personally and professionally.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about the Queen's Roundtable.
Oh, okay. So a Queen's Roundtable is a show, it's a podcast, and also a symposium and a channel. Okay, so let me back up a little bit. So the show, it's a weekly show, and each guest that I bring on, they, are willing to talk openly, candidly about some of their successes. And I know people don't like the word failure. So let's say some of their
challenges.
Right. Some of their challenges, right? As well as leading or ending on a note of providing some tips or tools, for women to listen and hear, be inspired, and be able to take a tool, at least one tool to be able to utilize, to be able to further their business. So it initially started out as the show. And like I said, it's a podcast as well. So I upload it to, the different podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. And the actual symposium, those are virtual events. I do plan to in the future expand and make them virtual and in person. But those virtual events again are focused around personal, professional, and leadership development to help women scale their business. So, same concept, just a different format. And the channel is actually on the Women Win Television Network, which is primarily or exclusively dedicated to women winning, right? Women in excellence. And the idea behind my channel is to be able to provide mental, physical, and spiritual health, mental, physical, and spiritual health for women. Not necessarily women in business, but for just women in general. Again, to help them, become a better version of themselves and whatever they're working on, or, whatever their idea of success is, to help them, to help them get there.
Okay. I know your one of your last, what was your title of your last symposium?
Oh boy, it was
it wasn't a woman's health, was it?
Huh?
That was before that. A woman's health, that was before that, huh?
Yes. So you know what? So what I've been doing is, again, as we go along, right, we, try different things. And what I settled on is I'm doing 2 symposiums a year. The one in March is going to be the My Health is My Wealth. That's what you're referring to.
Yeah.
Which is, self-care, all about self-care. And that's especially important for those of us in business. And then the one in September is dedicated, the title of that one is Born to Lead, Awakening the Leader Within. So that's more centered around, leadership. Tuning leadership, helping women to, whether they want to make a lateral move or upward move in their current career, or whether it's go from a career to doing their own business full time, or just leveling up in their business.
Okay. Okay. So the Women's Win Network, that's something that you're a part of? And I seen you was on a billboard recently, right?
Yes. I have to laugh because the network owner, I'm a channel owner, and the network owner is Dr. Nikita Davis. And honey, she always got somebody on a billboard somewhere. That's her thing, because she's a PR person. She has a network, she does PR, and she also has a publishing company. So yes, I've been on many billboards with her. Yes.
Yes.
But I'm a channel owner, which means that I have other, I myself, as well as I have show hosts on my particular channle that add content. But she's a network owner.
Okay. Yep. All right. What's the name of your channel? What is the name of your channel?
You have to ask A Queen's Roundtable.
A Queen's Roundtable. Okay. Yeah. So that is your channel. Okay. All right. Yeah, I shouldn't have to ask that, huh? Yeah. So, but is that originally where you started from, on the Queen Round, or you started on your own platform and then went to Queen's Roundtable? Is that how that worked?
Well, when I first originally started my platform, I started my show and the symposiums. I started the show first, then I went to the symposiums. So I started doing both of them. And it's always been A Queen's Roundtable. It's just that initially I was streaming on like Facebook. Like when I first started, I would just stream on Facebook. And then that's expanded to, LinkedIn, to YouTube. And as of a couple of years ago, on the Women Win Network as well.
Okay.
And that's and I know you're familiar with that, but for those that don't know, that on-demand programming really opens you up for so much more visibility. Yeah. Depending on what you stream on. And the Women Win Network streams on Roku and Amazon Fire TV. So that's a whole nother being able to get your content basically across the globe. So
okay. Yeah, okay. So what do you have, what kind of advice do you give someone that's trying to get into doing symposiums or talk shows or anything in leadership?
Okay. First, I would say figure out what it is you want to do, because and I don't mean to limit yourself. I just mean that when you figure out what it is you want to do, what you want to do first, then you can be a little bit more specific as far as what you need to do. You know what I mean? Like getting your maybe a mentor, or if you're not going to do that, maybe do your research, whatever people do in order to, get ready to put that together. If it's, if it's doing a podcast, let's just say a podcast, it may be, sitting down, actually determining who you want to reach, who you want to impact. What's the purpose of the podcast? Coming up with a name, figuring out who's doing it successfully that you might want some mentorship from, to take some pointers from, doing some different research, maybe figuring out what people are saying about these different platforms. Like some people use, I don't know, like I know some people do, what is that called? Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah.
Some people use, well, it's not Anchor anymore. It's Spotify.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
So just kind of figuring out what avenue you want to go. Some people do a podcast and they do YouTube and then they do Spotify. And just kind of finding out what are some of the pros and the cons. And, and I guess what's really going to drive you is your audience, who you want to reach and where they're most likely to tune in and get your information. So just kind of deciding, more specifically what you want to work on. You may have 4 or 5 things you want to do, figuring out what you want to do first, and then laying your groundwork for that.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes. Okay. So I know you are also a counselor, and then you just opened recently a law firm.
Girl, I wish I did open a law firm. I don't have a law firm. No, look, I would have been really wearing a whole bunch of hats. No, I'm a therapist, so no, but I'm not in law.
Not in law. Okay, yeah. Okay, I thought I seen something about a law firm or something. I don't know what I saw. So
No, I'm a therapist. That's my day job, if you
that's
will.
your day job. Okay. All right. So okay, on your when you talking about leadership, what does
Mhm.
leadership mean to you?
Okay, let me take a sip of my water first. Okay, so what leadership means to me? Leader, first of all, and you have to be able to lead yourself. So
Mhm,
when I think about leadership, and I really didn't necessarily expand it or think of it like this initially,
mhm,
right? But first, being able to lead yourself, being able
mhm,
to hold your own self accountable, right? Being able to lay a plan out for yourself and be able to execute it. Know what your end goal is,
mhm.
doing your research and figuring out what steps you need to take to get there. To
Okay.
me, that's all like governing or leading or structuring your
Mhm,
life, right?
mhm,
So you have to be able to do that for yourself first. And being a leader is not necessarily just, telling people what to do or throwing out orders, but it's about helping people further develop themselves.
mhm,
It's a huge piece of that. Or I think one of the pieces that makes a good leader is actually listening.
mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being able
Yeah.
to listen to individuals and to be able to determine what areas they're strong in and what areas that they may be challenged, may find challenging, right? Because if
Okay.
you're running let's say you're running an organization, you're going to need to know the individuals, like what's important to them. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like why did they even decide to work for you? You know,
Yes.
what are their goals? What are their dreams? As well as like I said, what are their strengths and what are their things that they need work on?
Mhm.
The only way you're really going to do that is if you really take an interest and you actually get to know these individuals and actually listen to what's important to them. So I just, like, off the top of my head, like, those are some things that come to my mind when I think about just leadership and what it is to be an effective leader. And
Okay.
that's what leadership means to me, you
Mhm.
know and I've had all kinds of leadership over the years, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And I'm able to look and see, like, right now I can go to a job and have an interview and maybe just have one conversation with that supervisor or department, program director, and actually tell if
Kind of
they're an
leaders.
effective leader.
Okay. Yeah. And I know you do about self-care. So tell us a little about why self-care is important to you, and you're
Whew.
doing it.
You know, I think you and I both know that running a business is very, or can be very challenging, you know. And in order to even show up as the best version of ourselves, right, we have to take care of ourselves. And what I've learned over the years, and which is why I think it's so important, like, to do these symposiums, do books, co-authorship and things of that nature around this topic, is because it's so broad. And I don't think a lot of people realize, like, if this umbrella is self-care, I don't think a lot of people realize how many things fall under that umbrella.
Yeah.
It could be, it's not just going to get your hair done or going to get a massage, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's how much sleep are you getting every night?
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to delegate tasks? Because some people, and especially with, when it's your own business, it's your baby, right? This is your
Yeah.
baby. You
Uh-huh.
feel like, oh, the only way it's going to get done properly is if I do it.
Do
You
it.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you talk to a lot of women that run businesses, and they're afraid, or they don't want to delegate anything. So it
Mm-hmm.
could be delegation, it could be, like I said, how are you eating, what's your appetite like, are you hydrated, are
Yeah.
you working out, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
are you getting enough sleep? And then it also segues into your relationships, right?
Yeah.
Like, who are you surrounding yourself with? Are you actually, you know your inner circle, do those individuals feed you? And do
Yes.
you feed each other? How do you feel when you get off the phone with your quote unquote good girlfriend or your
Yeah.
sister? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's self-care. So it's just so many things that fall under that umbrella of self-care that I don't think we really think about it a lot.
No.
So I often open it up into talking about, like I said, things like that, like your diet, your health, who are your mentors, who's in your inner circle.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because we
Yeah.
don't choose family, but we can choose our friends and we can choose how much access other people have to us.
Yes.
Another big thing is boundaries. That's something that people don't typically think about when they think about self-care.
Yeah, setting them boundaries.
So, right. And a lot of times you run into people that don't want to say no or they say no and then they feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
Right. So
I'm guilty
you know
of
what I
that
mean?
sometimes.
Right. So if you're saying no and you feel guilty about it, that defeats the whole purpose of saying no.
No, yeah.
But just no, not no because blah, 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 blah. No. You know what I mean? That's a complete sentence.
That's
period.
It.
So just all of those things, when you really think about it, fall under that umbrella of self-care.
Yeah.
What are you doing to rejuvenate yourself? Right?
Yeah.
Like every week, I roller skate, I swim,
yes,
I hustle class. Those are things that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Not just enjoy, I feel rejuvenated. I don't care if I'm tired. I don't care if if I'm running low on money.
Yeah.
If I got a headache, I'm gonna be at that class.
Yeah, enjoying yourself. That's your self-care.
Right, because that rejuvenates me. I do it and I get lost in time. So that helps me to balance things out. And I think that sometimes people don't really realize exactly how important that is, especially us as women.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So I will talk also about collaborating and networking, how important that is in your business.
Very, 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 very important.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think a lot of people say that they understand how important that is, but a lot of times I don't think that they have, or I've observed that they don't have a system built in for that. Like they might say it, they say that they understand the importance of it, but they don't necessarily actively plan out what that looks like.
Yeah.
So like whenever I get ready to do any sort of a project, and this is just me, whenever I get ready to do any sort of project, I'm always thinking about who can I pull in on this. And it's not necessarily about I want to share the work. It's not necessarily that. It's about genuinely, basically what we do as leaders, genuinely looking at individuals and knowing what some of their strengths are. Like for example, I can put something together, but I'm not a good what's that called? I'm not a good commentator. People just really get the crowd going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're funny, they're charismatic, you know what I mean? They just have a oomph about them. And it's not a knock against me. It's just that that's just not one of my specialties. So I'm
MCs. That's what you're talking about.
That's a certain type of person that does that. You know what I mean? So I'll be putting together something, and I know that that's an area that I could do it.
Yes.
But I know that there's somebody else. I feel like if I could, join up with somebody else, you know what I mean? Like, and it'd be reciprocal. Like I help her with something, she helps me with something.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we combine our audiences. I might be sitting down talking to her, and I say that I'm looking for this or looking for that. She's like, oh, well, you know what? I know so and so, and they can blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that is so powerful. I'm telling you, every time that I have collaborated with someone, I mean, it's always been a good experience, and it's always been a lot that has come from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There may not be glitches.
Yes.
But for the most part, I mean, I would, you know what I mean? It's part of my business model.
Yeah. It's good to have. So it's always good to have some networking connections, some kind of way. And because anything beats nothing.
Right, that's true.
Anything beats nothing. So I always encourage people to do that collaboration and networking. And also on your what is your next project you have coming up?
Okay, so for some reason, how did I know you was gonna ask me that? Okay, so one is the docu-series. I'm doing a Born to Lead docu-series.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm interviewing women. I'm interviewing women business owners. Most of them are business owners. A couple of them may be like a very top executive position within a very large company. But the
Mm-hmm.
majority of them are business owners. And the focus is around leadership,
Okay.
women in leadership. And it's just going to be an open, honest, interview, and they're going to just share some of the hurdles, if you will, that they've kind of jumped over
Uh-huh.
or had to maneuver,
Yeah.
in the process to get where they are today.
Okay.
So that's my next immediate project.
Uh-huh.
And then let me see what's next. And then after that, so for 2024, I'm going to be looking to or getting ready for the next virtual symposium, which is in March.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to combine that with my book project, the My Health is My Wealth, because I kind of had to put a pin in that for a minute because I had some things come up. So that's going to be the next thing. So we're doing the docu-series, and then the next big focus is going to be pulling together the final count of the co-authors for that anthology, as well as getting everything in place for the symposium in March.
March. Okay. All right. That sounds good. So do you have any final words for the audience before we leave, before we close out?
Let's see, final words. And I'll say this because this is something I'm going through right now, is get around a group of people that are supportive. Get around a group of people that are supportive, meaning that they understand what you're going through.
Yeah.
They may not have all the answers, because technically a lot of times if you're doing mentorship, you'll be paying for that. That's kind of, moves into the coaching arena, but just something where you guys hold each other accountable, and you share resources, and most importantly, encourage one another.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's always good. Yeah. Finding somebody that includes your circle, right? That's all a part of your circle. Somebody there to be in your ear when you need somebody,
Yeah. Is it, because it's like this is the journey can be kind of lonely sometimes. It can be lonely. Sometimes it can be a little discouraging.
Yeah.
You do something and you get, you spend so much time, let's say planning an event or working on something, and you just don't get to turn out. I mean, it's only natural, that sometimes we get discouraged, or, we just get discouraged from time to time, and to be able to be able to stay the course. So I think it takes a lot of encouragement and support and accountability partners.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I was going to do that, pop up, but with things going on with my mom, so I had to put that, like you say, a pin in it, because you got to move on. You got to be able to pivot too.
Right. Yeah.
Able to learn how to pivot because things happen in life, especially as a business owner, and I'm a solopreneur until I get a team. That's right. So I know a team is very important. So that's my next goal, to work on a team, somebody to help me when I can't do things, that still can continue to go on when I'm not able to do so. Being a caregiver can put a stamp in some things that you're trying to do. So,
right.
All right. So I want to thank you for coming on the show. You're welcome back anytime. Y'all give them your contact information, how they can reach you.
Okay, so let's see my contact information. So I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn under Dr. Jacqueline Kabah Harrison. I'm also on Facebook under my business page, and I'm on Instagram under my business page, which is Realizing Your Potential, the numbers 123. And my website is realizingyourpotential123.com.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for coming on, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.